Let's go, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. It is January 14th, 2025, and this is episode 68. And as you can tell from our three-windowed, we had an accident. As you can tell from our three-windowed display here, we have a very special guest for you tonight. If somehow you don't recognize this man, you haven't been paying much attention. This is LA's hometown hero here. This is a man of the people. This is the current WPT main event champ. This is future spokesman for Budweiser. If you're listening out there, he's taking your calls. Welcome, Scott Stewart. He crushed it up in the win this. He crushed it up in the win this winter, and we're really happy to have you on. Thanks for coming on, Scott.
Thanks for having me. I'm just messing with this setup. Got it.
There we go.
Looks good, man. Looks good.
Yep. So as you can tell, Scott is in a hotel. This man is tireless. He's still in Vegas, and unfortunately, I guess he's not up there for the fun side of poker. This is for the harsh reality. So for all you guys chasing the dream, remember you still got to do boring, lame work. So he's up there doing some administrative stuff, some paperwork, some junk like that. But hopefully you'll have time to jump in the win. I saw some people up there. I think it was Michael Ung's Instagram. He was up there grinding something. So there has to be a series going on, right?
Yeah, I think there's they do like a winter series like this after this where it's more like 300 to 800 kind of smaller stuff, but good guarantees, multiple flight kind of thing.
I got you. Not worth the time of a main event champion. I understand.
Oh yeah.
So Scott, I hadn't really, I'm new to the LA poker scene. I hadn't really been aware of how long you've been at it and how long you've been around playing and all this stuff. Maybe for those of you, or for all of our viewers here who kind of just are hearing about you as well with this win, you got to tell us how long you've been playing around LA and how long you've been in LA.
I was actually born and raised here in Lakewood, California, which is 20 minutes from where I live now in Long Beach. So I know there's some Long Beach people out there, but yeah, I was born and raised, so I've always played in LA. Didn't have too many big scores, I think, before 2016, and had a couple 100K scores, and that was actually eclipsed my first six-figure score at Commerce when Matt Savage was running things, which was a little easier back then and how everything ran. But
Nice.
yes, since before that, I was playing some bike stuff and chasing the Mega Millions like all of us, right?
Nice. So how did you actually get into poker originally back then?
You know what? I'm like one of the moneymaker people. We watched that on TV, and then I started playing sit and goes in garages with friends, right? Playing one table or two tables, and then graduated to playing online, which, you guys probably don't know. Some of the sites had. There was a Paradise Poker that I learned on, and then graduated to Absolute Poker, and then Poker Stars. So.
No, I remember them. I unfortunately, dumb me, I focused on my school instead of diving in so hard. But, but no, I remember all those scenes. That's great. So, did Black Friday hit you very hard then, or were you just kind of dabbling online?
No, I was playing full time online, and I was younger, so I definitely wasn't holding on to money or anything. I was just like, hey, I won $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and just go party in Vegas or do whatever with it. But it did hit me hard. I mean, I didn't have a lot, but I probably had like 12 to 15K stuck online. And that was what, 2011. So, oh my, 14 years ago. Yeah, it was 23.
Mm-hmm.
It was simpler times back then before that Black Friday shut everything down.
Yeah.
I remember I was playing beach volleyball with friends, and then we played a couple sets, and I came back to my phone, and it was like totally blown up. Like, oh my god, I thought someone died.
I mean,
but it was online poker that died that day.
Yeah, for real. I mean, that was a lot of people's.
I think I found out about that through 2+2. I think I was just logged in the morning in bed or something, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my god, what's going on? Luckily, I didn't have that much online on Full Tilt or Stars.
Yeah. No, I mean, back then that was, may only have been to the Scott today, 12,000. I'd be like, yeah, it's not that much money, but I'm sure that was a decent chunk.
Then, yeah.
That was a decent chunk of your liquid money back then. So for sure that hurt a lot. So had you already made the move to playing a lot at the bike and the commerce, the live scene at that point, or did this kind of push you into that more?
Definitely that pushed me into it more. Before I started playing more live, me and a couple friends, I know there's probably a couple people in the chat, Sam Renshaw, Jake Schuster didn't move down there with us, but those are the guys I kind of grew up playing poker with. And after Black Friday, I want to say like 6 months later, we moved down to Costa Rica for 6 months and played online.
Oh.
So thinking like, oh, we're gonna go down there and make money. There's we play on Party Poker. Poker Stars was like up and running already the day of Black Friday, but that was kind of the tentative plan. And then we got to Costa Rica, and it was hard to concentrate. We went on like 8 different vacations, saw the whole country. It was beautiful. So after that, I came home with like negative money. So that's like 2011, 2012. I had a $3,000 credit card. I was like, okay, moving back in with the folks. We're gonna see where I'm at after that.
That's all right.
So,
hey, a lot of folks go and waste a bunch of money traveling the world in their mid-20s, and it's not just a poker thing. They can't play poker. I mean, that's all those backpackers through Europe, all those people who graduate with a bunch of college debt and run off to it. I mean, it's fine. You're right where you needed to be. All right, so you move back home.
And I can tell you the people that were grinding office jobs all the way through that time wish they were doing what you were doing. So it's always a little bit better on the other side, right?
You said that was private. We weren't going to talk about that.
No, I definitely I wouldn't change anything. Some of the experiences I've had, and I'm sure poker brought me to most of them, which is can't complain. But yeah, I came back and I had no money, so I got a job selling cars. So I sold Buicks and GMCs and used cars for 2-3 years. I mean, God, when I get back like 2012, and then I probably worked. I would think I got back late 2011. Buick and GMC, and I was promised more money at Long Beach BMW. Of course, that's what jobs are, right? They always promise more money, and it wasn't like that. So I quit. I had X amount of money, and was like, let me go back to poker for a little bit. They had a WSOP circuit in Harrah's Rincon in San Diego.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a place. There's a Harrah's in San Diego.
It's in the mountains in the middle of nowhere. But I went up there and I met up with a buddy that I kind of randomly saw that he won a tournament early on, like one of the first events there. And I texted him, and I've known him from playing online way back when. He lives in Colorado now. His name is Vinny Muscati, my best friend in poker. And we ended up meeting up where he won the opening event, and then they had the re-entry weekend, and I ended up winning that, and he got fourth, and we swapped a little bit. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm just driving back and forth from Long Beach, which is only an hour and a half. It's not that far. And he was like, oh dude, I'm 7-star. I got a free room. Come crash with me. And we played the rest of the week, and then kind of started traveling together. And that's kind of how my live poker career started from 2014. Before that, I would do a couple trips up to Tahoe, something around those lines. But winning 30,000 when you haven't won probably more than 10 was awesome.
Right. That was your I won this tournament. I'm going pro moment, huh?
Exactly. So, but from there it was kind of progress. Won a couple WSOP circuit rings, and then would always play anything around Commerce, and didn't have a score. Then until 2016, I won a couple of those the $1,600 main events where they had maybe 300 to 400 people.
A couple of those.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was 2 in a year, and then I've never won one again.
Nice.
Not one of the main things. Yeah. It was,
well, they're back now, so we got more chances. You got more chances.
That's very true.
That's awesome.
COVID really hurt LA poker. We were humming on all cylinders in LA. No, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And COVID just really threw a wrench in it because, we had the LAPC, and that was just the LAPC was back then was what the win is now in the winter. Everyone, who wouldn't want to come from the Midwest, the East Coast, and go, well, it's snowing here. Why don't I go to California?
Why don't I go to Hollywood, right? It was
Yeah,
one of the
yeah,
one of the top. It was probably one of the top 2 or 3 WPT stops of the year then, right?
yeah, it probably was. And they used to have the California Swing, which is incredible. It would be you could play a bunch of LAPC stuff. You play the main, and then after the main, you go up to the Shooting Star. It was a $7,500 buy-in, but you know they had so many satellite winners in that tournament that it was a you couldn't miss it. It was incredible, and you knocked out a pro. You got $5,000. It was
Yeah.
like
I think they
awesome.
just brought that back to maybe a smaller scale. Yeah, but okay, yeah.
I heard they're going to try to bring it back as far as a WPT event. Definitely, the Shooting Star is back. They either remodeled it or I think they remodeled. I don't think
Yeah,
they
I
opened
think
like a
I
new.
think it was smaller, and it might be just like influencers instead of like big time pros now or something like that. But I think I read a
Yeah,
event. It sounded a little like that happening up there. But that's cool. So you'd swing up to Oceans or to Shooting Star. Sorry.
yeah. Shooting Star. Then after that, you could go to Thunder Valley and play Rolling Thunder. So that was a cool thing to do back in early March. A lot of people used to do it, and I imagine a lot of people loved it, saying, "Hey, it's going to come to California."
Yeah.
It used to be called the California Swing. It
Yeah.
was awesome, and then you kind of roll after March. It was like you're almost rolling right into Vegas. So that was
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
simpler
Kevin
times.
Kevin Taylor in chat saying he believes you won back-to-back Commerce mains. Is that true?
Yeah, that was in 2016. It was
No shit.
okay. And it was like I feel like they'd run maybe like 4 a year.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
like maybe like the Cal State one, and then like like the
Yes.
Bear, and then like the Hold'em series, or the Bear, and like the whatever they run at the end of the year, right? Something like
Okay,
that.
so I don't have a bear.
Oh,
I
not the
think the
Bear.
bear. I think it's the coolest
I know
trophy.
we were
I
just
don't.
talking
Yeah.
about that at the
Just yeah,
tables
we
this
don't have theirs
weekend.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
It's
so
annoying.
upset that the only bad thing about the circuit coming in is it's taking the slot of the Bear. So now there's no
Yeah.
Bears to win, and
No bear.
I don't have a Bear. Derek doesn't have a Bear. We're really upset about this. They need to
Yeah.
switch the trophies at one of the other series they still run
To a bear,
into
just so we can
into a
rotate in.
Bear.
Yeah, it used to be a golden bear. It was like
Yeah.
so cool,
Yep.
and I'm sure a buddy's in the chat, but his name's Sam Renshaw. We were three-handed in a tag team event. They had a tag team event for the California State Poker Championship.
Mm.
We are going to get a bear, and it was so funny because we're playing three-handed, and it's every level you change. And he was playing with Prince, the poker player Prince. Everyone knows him, black
Okay.
guy,
Yep.
Gene Gascon, good player. And then another guy would be like those three when it was three-handed, and then when I was playing with two women, and one was like, "Oh, I just played with my husband," and so we're on the on the side. I'm like, "Sam, if you just kind of take your time and let me kind of come in."
Just so
You know,
special.
it's interesting like hearing how you got into poker and then making that kind of jump. What do you feel like people who end up going pro are just kind of like wired differently? 'Cause there's so many people that are actually like really good at poker and just kind of never take that plunge to go pro. Like what do you think?
I think it depends on the person. You're right. It's like you have to have the mindset for it and
Yeah.
the grind, and then it depends on how you start. Like I've got friends, or you see people that run so hot for a couple of years and then they disappear.
Right.
And you can run hot in the beginning, and then when you kind of come back to reality and variance sets in, you're like, this game is so hard, I can't win. You start complaining. It's one of those things can happen. So you really have to have the mindset and the persistence to be like, okay, if I'm going to be a pro, I got to put in the time, do all that
Yeah.
stuff. That's definitely how I would think, and I think a lot of people just kind of fall into it. That's because if you do a full year of traveling, if you don't have comps and stuff like that, you'd be like, ooh, that is
Yeah,
it's
it's
it's hard.
expensive.
It's tough to make money in tournament poker and travel the world or the country.
Yeah. So you've been doing it for a long time, throughout that journey, have you ever thought about just like not doing it anymore and, getting a real-time job?
Yeah, I'm like I still. I mean, I want a lot of money, but I want to invest the money properly, and then even
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be working in a couple of years working part time. Like have because I'm pretty good about. I know when I'm burnt out on poker, or I'm like, I'm on my third bullet in a tournament, and I'm like, dude, I'm fried. My brain's not there. I could just stop. You
Yeah.
don't have the people who can stop. They're just like, well, it's a good tournament. I'll just fire 10
Hmm.
bullets.
That's what I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's what I do for sure.
It's hard not to because
Yeah.
sometimes the tournament's so good, but if my mentals aren't there, then I'm not going to be playing my best. And I think you got your A game, and then there's the B game. But when you start getting to the C game, you're just burning
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, you are for sure.
Yeah, especially these days, right? I mean, how does the so you've been grinding for 10 years on this live circuit, right? So how do you feel you made an illusion of it being easier before. How do you feel like things have changed? Like how much easier was it since then? And how much better are you now than you were back then when you were saying it was easier?
That's a good question. I feel like even I think about online poker was like way back when it was online poker was so easy, and it's because the American pool has a lot of money, and they just I don't know if they punted more, and that there wasn't solvers, there wasn't those things. I don't really use solvers, but people weren't as educated on the game, so it was just kind of winging it. And then I mean I'll be the first person to tell you like online poker's kind of passed me by. I don't play much online
Yeah,
because people are. I mean, how many spots are there online nowadays? There's some spots, but there's not that many. People are like,
tough.
oh, I know how to put half my stack in and then wait to get a pay jump and then tank and bots and all
Mm-hmm.
that shit. So
Yeah.
um, I mean, it's tough to make money like that, but I think the live poker scene is never going to change as far as you can look at someone and know that they're bluffing, or there's the people that just don't have the mental capacity for it, and they're like, I played 4 hours, I'm just going to punt off 100 bigs. Why not?
4 hours. That is a long time. We were watching people do that after 20 minutes this weekend, man. The stories that we were throwing out in the group chat just
Yeah.
trying to get through this day one
Yeah, it
were
was funny.
wild, man. Absolutely wild. And commerce hasn't changed, I don't think, in the last 10 years. I tell you what, maybe the top 10% of the players have changed, but I bet all the rank and file, all the folks coming for fun,
Yeah, playing the same way. Playing
punting
the same
it
way.
off, punting it off. The number of times Derek sent a text saying this person just like 4-bet all in level 2 with a6 suit offsuit. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Uh,
Yeah, the egos in
Scott,
LA.
yeah.
Hey, no, we're
So,
just having fun. No ego. We're having fun. Okay, we're having fun. When I bagged up last night on 3 beers and a Jack and Coke from Gary, and I was gonna buy him the next round, but he didn't make it that long. So I owe you beer, Gary. I got it remembered. All right, we're just having fun. We're blasting.
yeah, it's interesting to hear that you don't use solvers. So how do you kind of keep up with your poker education, without a tool?
I guess I'm not saying I watch a lot of poker, but
Yeah,
Poker Go made it pretty cool to be like,
it
yeah,
is.
I can watch some of these guys. Just the production value is incredible, and then their sizing, things like that, and you can, if they're showing something that's a little more deeper stack, it's very interesting to see how they play.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
with Triton. I mean, I feel like the Tritons, wherever they are in the world, they come on at like 6 a.m. California time, so sometimes I'm waking up and I'll just like, I'm putting on Triton and just relaxing and watching a couple hours and people play 200 bigs deep and the best in the world do it. But no, I don't know. I don't even know how to use a solver. I guess I'm a little bit more of a field player, and I've got friends that I can bounce hands off of,
yeah.
and they're definitely more interesting hands. Like I feel I can find more value in a spot, or I can fold in spots where people are like, well, this is just a standard spot. I'm like, well, against this player, of course it's not standard. Like you should never
Yep.
call or should even fold, things like that. So yeah, I think some people are just self-taught, and I've been doing it for so long that most spots are pretty much the same, or just based on sizing, player, things like that. But yeah, I can understand how it's a little crazy to think now in this world where people are like, well, you're supposed to bet 2 bigs there, not 4. And I was like, I mean, you're playing against the right element player. It doesn't matter how many bigs you bet; he's not folding.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
No,
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like
As
I don't have time to run solvers, so I really don't. People are always asking me about solvers and stuff. I'm like, I don't know. That's Derek. He's the solver guy. I do my one free hand in GTO Wizard maybe every other month, and that's about it. So I'm with you, man. It's funny. We've had a couple people on, especially the LA folks seem to be tending that way. A lot of people who aren't really heavy into the solvers are having a lot of success, right? And I feel like there's all those different kind of learning styles. Some people learn really well just by they can just read a book, figure it out. Some people they're really good with lectures, right? Some people are really good. They got to get their hands out and get in there. I feel like this feels to me kind of like that sort of example of that, right? maybe people like Scott, and I remember like we talked to some other folks around town like Mike, for instance. Scandiari says he only likes to watch poker, right? Same as you're saying, and some other folks that they just like to watch the best play, and some people can actually learn that way, and a lot of people it's a huge waste of time for them to just watch playing because they don't actually learn anything useful, right? But for some people they can, and other people, a lot of people couldn't learn from talking to people because who knows, they're afraid of people or they don't trust people or who knows, whatever. They just can't learn from talking to people. But you get them in front of a solver and give them like a weekend and all of a sudden they're like a genius at a spot, right? So it's cool. It's really cool. It's different strokes, as they say, but it's all about.
Yeah, I think pre-solver, I was definitely just grinding Poker Go constantly. And I think the thing that actually made me really focus on tournament poker is when Nick Schulman first started like commentating, and I was like, oh my God, he's actually like giving the three options he would take in the spot, and I was like, this is unbelievable. And you're right, like, so production value, it's so entertaining just to watch those streams. Like, I don't think I'll ever sit and watch something for 8 hours, but I'll just watch it like a poker tournament stream for 8 hours, right? But then like if you're really paying attention to like their bet sizing and what hands they choose to three bet versus call versus fold, ICM spots, and like you're saying, when they actually like do the unofficial like day one streams where they're like 300 big blinds deep, it's like amazing poker. But yeah, I've learned so much from Poker Go too.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like stuck on if Mike Escondiari was like ever put a solver in front of him, the thing would just blow up.
Yeah.
He'd be like, no, no.
He'd be like, can I order a drink on this thing? What do I do? I don't know. How do I? No,
I think the app would just crash and
Yeah.
they'd have to go fix it.
Yeah, it would just give up. It's not worth my time. So yeah, let's. I want to ask a little bit more about this series then more recently, right? So you've been grinding forever. You're traveling all around on your buddies' comp rooms. You're living the high life, that 7 Diamond life. Going to all that. We must have been going to all the Caesars properties or whatever, right? So that's awesome, living that grinder life. But then, so this is not your first WPT. It's not your first main event. Was there anything leading up to this event, like this year? Did anything feel different about this year? Were you having a particularly good, particularly bad year? Were you feeling particularly sharp? I know in the prime, you had a really deep run in the prime. Did that give you more confidence going in, or were you already feeling great? Like, yeah, of course I did. I'm going to do great in this next one and this next one. Like, what was your mindset like going into this series?
You know what? I guess I didn't play as many tournaments this series because I feel like I got there. They had the 800 to start. I played the 800 and I didn't cash or anything, but I just, like the tournament in general, just being at the win, like you feel better. You're not like, oh, I've got, let me go get an $8 Commerce hot dog. I want to get that. No offense to Commerce, but
Hey, no. To be fair to Commerce, the hot dog prices have come way down, way down. Okay. To be fair, that's one thing.
The food's actually very cheap.
That's
right
one
now,
thing
actually.
they fixed. So,
Yeah.
Okay, but go on.
Yeah.
No, but go on.
I think the way I was playing in the prime, I felt very comfortable, and I want to say that tournament gave me like the extra stamina. Like I've never really, when I went deep in the main event in 2017, like I was definitely mentally fatigued at the end of the day, which that's the only time I've ever been mentally fatigued playing poker. And kind of this series, the prime had a couple of longer days, just how the tournament was set up. There's 12,000 players. Obviously, the days got to get a little longer to eliminate X amount of players. But I felt so fresh in some of the later levels. You can visibly tell people are like, oh yeah, I play. This is like a second day playing, and I played for 8 hours yesterday. And now we're on hour 10, and you can tell they're getting fatigued. And I feel like day one I was cruising, and then day two was at the end of day two was like a really tough table. And sometimes you can let like, oh well, this guy's gonna three bet me more, or like he's so good, like such a good player, he's gonna read spots well. I I feel very comfortable in those kind of situations. And late going into that day, I had a lot of chips, and it was like got a big bluff through, and just reading a situation correctly. And I think because day two was like a 14-hour day, it was a long day. So day three, I qualified for that free roll as well. So I actually showed up at 10 a.m. knowing I could play 2 hours of that free roll.
Wow. How did you get your seat, by the way?
The Run Good series down in Hamul in San Diego,
Mm-hmm.
they ran like a point system for their series.
Oh, really?
And if you're in the top three, you got a seat.
Oh, nice.
So
I like that.
so I know there was some questions about who got some seats at the end there.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yep. I was questioning. I admit it.
Yeah. And I you know what, I talked to the Jamie Kerstedter's a friend of mine, and she kind of did the marketing for the event, and she said the people that really that canceled last minute were like, I don't know why the flights were so expensive to get into Vegas, and then also the rodeo was going on,
Yep.
which really jacked up the prices of like any hotel room.
No, my coworker was there with his people for the rodeo. So
I know. I was like trying to find a Monday Night Football game, and I walked into a bar in Paris, and the whole bar, there's like 5 TVs, and they're all on the rodeo. And I was like, I'll find another bar. I'm not going to ask the bar, change to Monday Night Football. I would have got some dirty looks from the rodeo people.
maybe if the Cowboys were playing, I guess.
But yeah, no, I feel like I remember showing up that day 3 for the Prime, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get there at 10 a.m. Try to run up this free roll. I'm not gonna just give away the free roll. It's an incredible tournament.
Yeah.
I know it was a lot of money up, but the way it was and some of the players in it was like, you got to take a shot. So I think you started with 25 in that, and I ran it up to 90K, and then I just left it.
Yeah.
And the win was actually very generous with that. After day 2 of the Prime, it said anyone that's playing that free roll, come up to us. We'll put you at one of the tables where you can actually try to get close to the free roll if you wanted to run back and forth. You know, I'm not the biggest runner. Let's be real. So I was actually pretty close to my table, but you know, if I had 90K at maybe 500 big blind, I was like, okay, I don't really need to deal with this. So I concentrated on the Prime, and then busted the Prime in the 40s, which was pretty funny because the only swap I had left, Brett Murray, he shoved 10 bigs. I probably started the hand with like 20 bigs, 21 bigs, and I just flatted him with jacks. And then someone behind Rick, so I was like probably beat, but you know, I already put in 10 bigs. I'm not holding for 11 behind. But we were both burning time banks, and I'm like, I burned a couple time banks. I probably didn't need to do, but I was like, why? We're on the little stone pay jump, but I got 5% of that guy. I want him to get the pay jump too. If hopefully one of us can beat him.
That's so funny. It was like, you know, your time banks are doing like double duty. That's so funny.
Yeah. So I mean, we both got the pay jump, so it worked out where he had sevens, I had jacks, guy had kings, and like luckily the flop too. The flop was the king was a window, but there was a jack behind it. So I was like, that's for my mentals. It's better to see the king first.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But so I like busted and then just like got my payout ticket, ran over to the free roll, and then I made the money in the free roll. I got one bounty, and I want to say I got like 100th, 110th, somewhere around there. So I feel like Fausto definitely cashed the free roll and made day 3 of the Prime. I don't know if anyone else did that. It was a lot of grinding going on.
Yeah.
But, so I feel like kind of leading up to the main event, I was like, okay, I played a 14-hour day 2 of the Prime, and then I played half a day in the Prime, and then jumped in the free roll and had to play till like midnight that night.
Wow.
And then
who loves it more?
Yeah. At that moment, that's very true. And then I took the day off. I watched football on Sunday, and then read day C for the main event. And then, you know, the main event was like, even sitting down, sometimes you're like, okay, it's 10K. I'm a little nervous, but I sat down and I was like, where did some of these players come from? And it's just some people have too much money in the world, and I feel like you start with 100K in that tournament, right? I feel like I was at 250 after level 3.
Dang.
And I was like,
no kidding.
Wow.
It's gonna be a smooth running. You know, I mean, who's ever played with me? I know how to play a short stack, but when I've got chips, I know how to let the hammer down. So luckily, I got away with that for a couple days, even leading up to the bubble. And I remember going into day 3, it was like I've got like 130 bigs. Holy shit, this is awesome. You know, this is a spot that people dream of. I remember sitting down day 3, and I'm like, look at these people. So I'm sitting with like there's some superstars that are like the whole tournament changed. You know, it was like smooth sailing 2 days, and then day 3 it was like couldn't get a bluff through, couldn't get a steal through. You know, like I'm just trying to pick on certain big lines, and but even that, it was kind of funny. Some of the people at the table were super friendly, and it felt like the camaraderie in that 10K was nothing like I've ever seen. And it wasn't just my table. It seemed like everyone was having a really good time. So,
Nice.
yeah, I remember day 3 was kind of like a rough day. And probably the first time I was all in that tournament, I was all in with ace, king to queens and hit an ace. And probably got all in like 30-ish bigs. And then I feel like we went to the feature table, and then our table broke, which was a real tough table. And I feel like I went to a new table, and I was like, oh,
You're like,
this
phew.
is fine. This is fine. And then kind of smooth sailing.
Oh,
And
okay.
obviously, the deeper you get, the better the players are, and some of the situations set in. Uh, down to X amount. I guess I was lucky enough, even going from like roughly like 60 people in that tournament. When you get down to it, you could tell when people are kind of trying to make the pay jumps too. Obviously, the
Yeah.
pay jumps are going to start getting big at that point. And I had luckily had chips, and you can really start punishing some of those areas if you're really paying attention to who doesn't have any time chips left, and who's kind of just those eyes keep darting to the clock, and you're like, okay, I'm going to pick on these people a little more. And then
Mm-hmm.
I think from like 30 people down, I ran well, played well, and the rest is kind of history.
Yeah, this is what a really good non-GTO player sounds like.
Yep.
By the way, everyone.
Exactly. That's what I was just gonna say. Is like
extremely exploitative,
Yeah.
like an animal, just like targeting people. This is just what, like Lonus, right? Like it's another guy that does the same thing like you.
Yeah. When are they gonna come up with the solver where one of the inputs is how many times their eyes look at the clock, how many time chips they used in what, in like how many time chips have they used without ever doing anything but folding? Just stuff like that. Like where are those inputs? Because they're clearly, obviously they're important, right? Like if you notice that, it's just like, all right, all of a sudden we're just the whole chart turns red.
That is true. I got caught a couple times with the Jack Deuce suited, and call that the simple Jack, and a couple other hands I was probably getting a little out of line, but was printing money in certain spots with pay jumps and certain players that I think it helped a lot that the Bahamas ran their tournament where every
pulled a lot of those.
has unlimited money. They can go fire as many 25K clients as they want. I'm like, I like it. It's a great place to be in December in Vegas. You can play some golf. You can go outside. It's not 117 degrees. That's great.
Right.
So it was, it was. I even think about the 3 tables left in that tournament. It was like some of the people that we were like having arguments at the table about sports figures. Like AJ Kelson made it in the tournament, and he's just knows every sports figure ever, and like he's a big Philly fan, and then someone that was like a Toronto fan, they were kind of like they were bantering, and then you could tell it was like getting a little like you both know what we're talking about. Leave it at that. It's fun.
Just a nice casual feel. That's cool, man. I skipped it this year because last year it felt so tough. Maybe I should have given it another chance. That 25K maybe really did change the tone, because last year the Bahamas was a smaller tournament, and than this year. It was overlapping, but it was a smaller one, so it was the opposite case where the guys who would play bigger would be here or rushing back. So that's cool. I'll keep that in mind.
My experience was pretty grindy, so maybe Scott just kind of got lucky. Or actually, you know what? It could just be Scott, right? I think you're a pretty good table presence too.
Yeah.
So you might just bring out some friendliness in people.
Yeah, I think the tables that we sit at may be a little different than the tables you sit at just from our presence, Derek. I mean, you played with me all freaking day on Sunday, and I just got
the headphones on.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I got half the table trying to kill me, and the other half laughing with me and buying me drinks. So it's like, I bet Scott, I'm guessing you're the same way. I don't think I've ever played with you for very long, if at all, but I'm guessing you're the same way, since you were the guy, drinking the beers all throughout the feature table, right? Like most people in these, most of these modern players, they won't drink anything while they're playing. They're so serious. It's like bottled water and protein drinks only up there. And you're just relaxing, being a man of the people, hanging out, looking like you're having fun, right? So that's not like part of a strategy or anything, right? I know sometimes when I play cash, I like to make sure I have a beer so that it looks like I'm, because I'm always having fun, but so that it looks like I'm really having fun, right? I mean, this isn't a strategy. This is just relaxing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely was like, the beers I was having was beer level. It was like the last level of the night, maybe the last 45 minutes of the night. So I guess that that got paired with, a very worn down Budweiser hat,
Yeah,
which you didn't see
it's
Bud, the
iconic.
king of beers. You don't see those hats very much often anymore, but yeah, mostly it was beer level, and then obviously like when we were heads up, it was kind of funny when we were heads up, and there's like the Thunderdome, the whole setup there.
Yeah,
They only had like
actually, if you are you watching the stream on your side phone there? Let me roll a clip here from Poker News. All right, and let me ask you to relive some of the feelings from this moment.
It's a jack. Woo! Let's go! Let's go! No outs. Let's fucking go, Scott! No outs. None. Yes. Come on, Stu! No outs. Come on, Stu! Finish it off! Stewart! Finish it off! Stewart! Finish it off! Stewart! 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 What does that do? It? Yeah!
Freeze frame and cut to credits, right? Like what a finish, what a rail. You had the wildest, like most lively rail going in I can remember in a long time. I'm sad I wasn't there. Not only you, but the whole, I'm kind of embarrassed as LA Poker Roundup we weren't there, because you and Edward Park there, LA taking all the money from this tournament, just crushing it. You guys finished in the top. You got what he chopped. You got it was a three-way chop, sort of something like that, three-way deal, and then you played out to finish it out, something like that. And
yeah, we just adjusted the payouts. When we were so close and so deep three-handed, I think it was 1.5 for third, 2 million for second, and then 3.1 for first.
Yeah, that's
and
big.
we kind of we looked at it and they're like, oh, do you want to do an ICM? I was like, not really. Let's just adjust the payouts. Like everybody gets 2 million for third. Like that's it's life-changing money.
It's a lot
$2
of
million.
money.
And then 2.2 for second, and then 2.56 for first. Like we're still playing for $560,000. That's a lot of money. So it's just for the players. I don't think anyone had a big edge. Which is also random. Ed being from LA, because I don't think I've ever played with him. And when we were nine-handed, he was in the 9-hole and I was in the 8. And we're kind of like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm from LA. I've been there for years. He's like, me too. And I'm like,
it's like you're lying.
Crazy that we never.
I know everyone from LA, right?
I mean, I made the joke. I was like, I guess you guys all do look alike. And then he was like, we think the same for white people too. Don't worry.
That's funny, man. Yeah, that's a good dude.
Yeah, it seemed to make the most sense. It was, maybe I could have grinded out a little more, and like someone would have been more worried about the money. But one little hand goes wrong, and you're like, man, I took like a $700,000 beat. That sucks.
Yeah.
But I think we just kind of eliminated a little bit of the variance there and did it properly.
So what did it feel to you there as the final cards were falling, though? How what kind of emotions were going through? I saw a little smirk come across as they started the chant. Did you know they were going to do something like that, or is it just like how much did it mean to have them back there supporting you and cheering for you?
It was very awesome. Some people flew in from some crazy places, and some of them had a piece of me. So someone flew in from South Africa. That was incredible. Shout out Max. Someone flew in from Memphis. Someone flew in from Denver, and then another friend flew in from Jersey. He was like energy 100% the whole time. His name's Brian Sorensen, incredible human. But he was the whole time. He was like, he doesn't really know poker, so he was just like, this is just awesome. This is this whole setup, and we had the friends back there. Like some of my good friends from poker that are still in Vegas, they came. Then I had some friends drove out, some friends flew out from LA, and that worked out too. So yeah, the energy kept my energy up, which I never thought I was fatigued or anything, but they were behind me the whole time, and it worked out. I think the moment the last hand, it didn't hit me, but a couple of hands before where I opened and the blinds just went up to 4 million was the big line. We both had sub 30 bigs, and I just opened kings and he ripped sixes, and that was like when he ripped and I called, I was like, man, it was a tough heads up match, and I was just like, win this one, and then I think we're in good shape. So I think after that king's hand, I was like, holy crap, I might win this thing. he's
That's
down to
cool.
like 2 big ones. This is awesome. So
Nice.
I think I had
unbelievable.
like the emotions were a couple of hands before,
Gotcha.
and then after I wanted to really shake the man's hand. He played an incredible heads-up match.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's been an unbelievable feeling to. I mean, like we all won tournaments before, but at that scale, I can't even imagine the feeling.
Yeah, to win, to
Yeah.
be the champion, a little
Yeah, man.
champion for the year.
Congratulations.
It's kind of like, it's because I had to start making more decisions. It's like that now. It's kind of hitting me where I don't think it hit me for the first 10 days or something. I was like, this is not real.
Do you remember the 10 days after the tournament run? I mean, how late did you stay up after this particular night or into the next day? I can't imagine you went to sleep for quite a while.
No, I went to bed at 11 a.m. the next day.
After calling your mother, according to the article I read.
Yeah, no, right when we, my dad and my sister flew out, so that was awesome for them to be there.
Uh-oh. Oh, we lost our guest. He will have to dial back in. Something happened.
Yeah, I think you just pressed the button.
Yep,
Oh, there
here he comes.
Yeah, did something if you guys hear me.
Yep, we can hear you. Hopefully the video comes back. We can hear you. Here we go. There you go. All right.
I just did something happen. My dad and my sister flew out, which was awesome. And then my mom couldn't make it. She's got a little bum right knee right now. She needs to get a knee revision. But, I know she was watching every step of the way. She's like my number one fan. I love my mom. I love my sister. And my sister. I love them all. But when my mom was following, she knows how to navigate every website. She's like, is it going to be on WPT.com? Is it going to be on WPT?
That's cool.
Be on Poker.org. Where's it going to be? Like, WPT, and then she got the stream set up and everything. So
wait, so did you have to wait an hour to call her for no spoilers?
No. I mean, it was late enough. I was like, I wanted to just call her and tell her I won so she could go to bed.
So then, So then, Jack in the chat here is, I'm guessing that's not his real name, saying you should have just held with Queen so you could have went and partied more. So where's the first stop? Did you guys hit every place in town, or you got a favorite place to party in Vegas?
There was a couple friends that were pretty drunk, so it was like I had a suite at Caesars. Someone booked a suite for me. That was very nice of them. Shout out Kyle. And so we just had to get back to Caesars, and then we got up to the room, and it was kind of like decompressed for a second. There was some booze up there, so we all had a cocktail, hung out for a little bit, and then the people that were still jacked up and ready, I was like, let's go downstairs, get a couple drinks, gamble a little, and then even like at that point, some of my friends back home are like, dude, we drove in today or we flew in today, and then we just got done at 1 a.m. Not all of them know that much about poker. They're like, this was a mentally draining thing. Down, it's everything. So some of them didn't come out, and we probably went out at like 3, 4 a.m. and then we were messed around in the casino for a little bit, and then ended up back at a buddy's house, and we're 10 a.m. throwing Red Zone on, watching some football. But I was starting to fade at that point.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Amazing. And then you had, if I recall, you had your birthday right after, right? In January, right early in the year.
Yeah, it was January 5th.
Yeah. Wow, what a freaking couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot. But yeah, we do a boys trip every year. Me and a buddy from Colorado, and he's got to go up to burn his 7-star trip. He gets one a year, so we actually go up to South Lake Tahoe, do some snowboarding, skiing, and then it's right where there's a Harris property, and so we just hang there. And then this trip was only going to be like 4 or 5 of us, and it turned into maybe 9, 10 of us.
I was going to say, you spring for any upgrades this particular time?
Yeah, we ate some good dinners and had some nice rooms, and that was a little more was that's when we went from 4 to 5 to 9 to 10. I was like, well, I understand why some people are popping on that train. Let's go hang out with the dude that won a couple million bucks.
I know, right? Little do they know, you live in California. You got that's he loses 12% right there or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be fun when the government comes for more money.
Yeah, I know. That's the only problem with the WPT happening in December, right? The only problem with it happening right at the end of December is you don't get any time during the year to lose it back.
Yeah. So yeah. Try to get some discounts.
Yeah, you've got no time. It can save your year, but if it makes your year, you don't have any time to get your rebates, to get your tax breaks, to get your charitable donations in. It's just,
Exactly. And I mean, that's too. It was like the year hit, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even have time to do anything. I was just like, yeah, well,
Yeah. Yeah. You know what?
I gotta get CPA.
You know what I read? Maybe I'm not a CPA, but I read this is that if you start doing your taxes and you declare your fiscal year to be a certain period, like you might be able to get away with that if you're consistent with it. So maybe we should do that as it's poker players. I don't know. Might be something to look into. I was not going to do that, but I think I read that that's a thing. Maybe it's only for companies or something, but like if you structure it right. I don't know. Haven't had that problem. We'll see. It's a good problem to have. So I know we are not trying to get any warnings or explicit content things put on our channel, but in this last month of fun and partying, any cool, maybe poker related, maybe not, anything particularly fun that a story you haven't told on any of the other podcasts or any of the shows yet? Meet up with maybe some poker celebrities that you don't usually hang out with, or some old poker friends that came out of the woodwork for some of these things that you haven't seen in a long time, or anything like that?
Nothing too specific. I mean, obviously the 3 days after Vegas were really fun. We got to. It was funny. The day after I won, my dad was out here, and he actually got to play the win course with a couple of my friends. So it was like the people that flew out, and it was a foursome that played golf at the Win, which is really nice. And my dad's like dying to play for it after he seen me play it. And I was supposed to be one of those people in the tee time, but I was a realist. There was no chance I was in the golf course at 11 a.m. So that was fun. And then we had like a nice dinner at a place called Versace out here. It's kind of like a Benihana kind of place. So
Gotcha.
we took the food before and we had a blast. And I mean, after that, it's kind of a blur, but up in Tahoe was really fun too. We ate steakhouse, cool sushi place, but no memorable story. It's just been like a kind of like a blur of a fun time.
Nice.
We we hit the craps table pretty hard up in Tahoe, and it felt like when I was rolling, I couldn't lose.
Oh, geez.
It was just one of those things. So it was a real fun time, but. Yeah, I feel like what is it, the 10th? Or I don't even know what date it is right
Yeah,
now.
it's the 14th. The 14th.
And let's call it another week. It's going to be a month, and it feels like it's been 3 days. It's like it's flown by.
That's crazy. That's incredible. Now let me ask you this: has WPT or anybody been the phone been ringing trying to get some spokesman stuff, sponsorships, anything going now that you're the big shot? Because I tell you what, you're pretty marketable. If you ask me these days, I think you got a pretty marketable angle to go for this, especially get that WPT gold span in the country. I think you could really appeal to a lot of the folks, that Ed Park thinks you look like.
Yeah, no, I have one friend. He's probably in the chat. Shout out Jay Schuster there. He went to Anheuser-Busch's website and looked up like 5 names, found him on LinkedIn, and started sending like, hey, check out these videos for this guy. Like, if you need a new Budweiser spokesman, I mean, Budweiser is my favorite beer. I can't beat an old school Budweiser bottle. That's my kind of go-to.
Well, nobody's perfect, so we'll just we're gonna forgive you with that one.
Look, I dabble in every beer. Don't worry, you guys ever want to drink with me? I'll dabble in all the streets. But yeah, he's kind of got that out going, and then I got another buddy that lives in Utah, and he's like, if Budweiser falls through, I might do something with Montucky, which is like a Montucky cold snack.
Okay.
So it'd be
nice.
It'd be cool to do something like that. And yeah, I didn't even think about actually how WPT is launching their online site, but if they did something like that,
yeah, right.
I'm gonna say their swag bag was incredible.
It was nice. It was nice.
Unbelievable.
Very nice hoodie. Very nice. I already lost one of these. I got 2 of these, and I already lost one, so that's a good thing.
Their zip-up hoodies like my new favorite hoodie. It's so nice.
Yeah, no, for sure. Only thing keeping me from wearing them is that so many people got them. I just I know I'll just lose everything. I'll lose it all. But but no, for real, they definitely are going to need more people to push that. And hopefully we can see at least if they do it right and it is a big enough launch, maybe we can see a little bit of those old days for a minute if they can get enough people in America to believe it is safe and legal and safe to come back and jump on there and have some fun, So we'll see.
Yeah, we definitely need it. It's even like when COVID happened, the little bit I played on ACR, I was like, what is re-entry online?
Yeah.
There never was re-entry online. It's certainly not
Oh, yeah.
6 hours of re-entry.
Yeah, right.
Right,
Things have
right.
changed.
Yeah, right. Hopefully we can get away from that a little bit.
Jack in the chat here says beer for beer in the tag team LAPC event next month. That would be so much fun. I wish it wasn't on like a Tuesday or something. Derek and I would get in there. We would definitely match anybody.
Yeah, that's Jackie Mehoff. There is my friend Sam, and we're definitely going to play the tag team because we, again, almost got that golden bear. But tag team events are so much fun. I like the way they do them too, kind of like level for level. You know, the World Series is a unique one where they're just like, yeah, you play one hand and then
just bug off. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not there's no partnership there. That's just catering to their celebs.
Exactly. So I'll be, when I get home, I'll be playing some LAPC events.
Awesome.
I haven't much looked at the schedule.
Well then hang on. We will walk you through the schedule again right in a minute. We did that last week, but we can give you the summary again. And yeah, shout out, props to you. During that whirlwind blur of a few weeks, you managed to stop by the gardens and drop off a couple buy-ins for the local community. We appreciate your charity, sir.
Yeah, I definitely got it in drawing dead on the turn.
Yep, we appreciate your charity, and can't wait to see you make your way to the LAPC and to do some more. Yeah. So yeah, hey, if you want to talk about LAPC, you came to the right place. Why don't you? I was gonna do that kind of at the end, but why don't I bring the schedule up and we can talk about it real quick since you are looking at the schedule. We'll do a special WPT champion look at the LAPC schedule. So when are you going to be free? When will you be potentially able to play back here in LA? What are we looking at?
I'll tell you what, I land at like noon tomorrow. I'll be home, and then I haven't looked at it yet, so I don't know what's going on. But I'll be. I'm going to be in there. There's a cool event. I'm going to be.
All right. Well, I don't know about cool, but there's some somewhat unique events. So first off, if you like bounty events, this is a series for you. I don't know why, but they turned this into like a 60-70% bounty event series. Yeah, you're shaking your head. So, I'm with you, but it's what they got.
Yeah.
So the event when you land, the one that's currently going on is an XL bounty. It's one of those in the money bounties where they're bigger bounties, you know. So it's in the money. You get a 1,500 bounty per person. It's only 150K guarantee. I'm guessing it'll get to at least 300K. Probably a little bigger, maybe like 320. So if that's not your event, the following week, it's a good small, good low stakes major kind of thing going on. The following week is their 40-40. That's a $600 buy-in, 300K guarantee multi-day. So 40-minute levels. The levels themselves later on still suck. I'm going to complain about that later, but at least they're 40 minutes. So, next week, nice low stakes kind of major there. The ones that you'd be more interested in are a little bit later on. So let's skip the Super Bowl week. I'm guessing you're going to be leaving anyways to go party it up somewhere. But after that, there's another XL bounty. It's a little bit larger, still this bounty thing happening. But they have the $1 million guarantee 1K event happening, and that is in the second week in February, I think. Let me see. The Commerce Classic, right here in this part of the schedule, begins on the February 11th, on Tuesday. That's the first flight. So February 11th. And that runs through day 2 being on the Monday, which I believe is President's Day, February 17th. And it is almost certainly going to have final table on Tuesday, February 18th. So that's that one. And then as soon as that wraps up, the LAPC, or actually I guess there's a couple days in between, but the LAPC main event, the 10K, that starts on February 22nd. Now, there's no guarantee on that. But I would just look at last year's numbers, and they'll probably be the same. Since last year's numbers, the guarantee was only 1 million. So I would imagine that nobody cared, and it'll be the same number as entries as then. So that is those are the big events happening here. Now that tag team event that your buddy's talking about, that happens on, that's on a Tuesday, right?
Yeah, February 18th.
February 18th? Okay, so that happens on February 18th.
Wow, that's later this year, it seems like.
No Limit Hold'em Tag Team, 11 a.m., Tuesday, February 18th. So that's when that guy is. That is right after the Commerce Classic. So if you play in that, you'll be around. So check
Did you say that 1,100, like the 1,200, the 1 mil?
The 1,200 is the 1 mil. Sorry.
Day 2 is on a Monday?
Yeah, day 2 is on Monday, the 17th. I believe it's President's Day. But yes, day two's on. Yeah. Oh, see, you're shaking your head. That was the first thing we complained about last week about this last weekend's tournament. So this last weekend's tournament's day two was on Monday, and I came into the day as the chip leader, and I still hated it. I was not even happy to come in because it was a Monday, and you know, the prize pool doubled their guarantee. That's why we played. So yeah, all right. So let's talk about we'll do results at the end when we let Scott go. Let's talk commerce. You know, we love and hate and love and kind of like and hate and love commerce. I love that commerce is there, and I love that they do tournaments. I love that they are still committed to doing big series like this. I hate that they don't seem to listen or care or try to do anything that anybody recommends. I literally was sitting there and talking to, you know, I talked to Craig a little bit, Craig Chait, and I talked to Taxi, and they're both like, yeah, the mixed game stuff, there's things that I would have told them, and there's things I have told them, and there's suggestions I would make. And Taxi's just like, I told him, and he just looked like he kind of shrugged, you know? Taxi's like, these mixed games, all the mixed game tournaments, why are you starting them at 11? You should start them later in the day, you know, so that the registration can continue and still be open when people get out of work, so people can come and play the mixed game tournaments, right? And why did they change those? I mean, and Taxi, if you're not listening to Taxi and you're not listening to like Sean, I don't know if Sean's spoken to them about any of this. If you're not listening to people like that about the mixed game events, like you're definitely doing it wrong, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and then like I said, for my biggest gripe for this, and I haven't. We'll double check it on another week when we have a little more time. We'll look at the structures. But I'm almost positive that all of these structures until we get to like the 1K are going to be identical. The structures are so what's the word, backwards? So stupid. They have all the extra levels, all the extra play, all the slowness way up front. And then we hit day two. They make me take my day off of work on Monday. And we literally, I come in as the chip leader on day two. I have 100 big blinds. I have exactly 100 big blinds. We're at 12K. In 2.5 hours, I now have... I have, with the exact same chip stack, in 2.5 hours, my stack would have now gone down to 20 big blinds. In 2.5 hours, because we had 10 minutes left in that level, and then after 2 hours, there's another, you know, that's 4 levels. So then when I start the next level after that, bam, I'm at 20 big blinds. At the beginning of a tournament, my 100 big blinds after 6 levels of play would have still been at least like 40, 45. And that's like 2.5 hours, though. This is day two. This is when the money's happening. 2.5 hours. Right. You go card dead, or, you know, you get bad cards for 2 hours. You're probably just as likely to get bad cards for 2 hours as you are to get like aces once. Seriously. I mean, like 2 hours is nothing. And this is the part of the tournament that matters. And it just got worse from there. Literally it's one of those the day two structure was the same as the daily structures, where every 3 levels the blinds double. On day one, we had a 100 200 level, a 200 300 level, a 200 400 level, a 300 500 level, a 300 600 level. Once we jumped up, we had we went from 2,000, 20,000, 20,000, 40,000 straight to 30. There was no 2550 to straight to 3060, straight to 4080, right? Like, there was nothing going in between. Like, we went from 12 to 15 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 60 to 80. Like, we didn't get anything in between, and there was still half-hour levels, you know? It's wild, the lack of play. By the second break of the day, which was only after those 6 levels, like when my stack was now 20 big blinds, the average stack in the tournament was already 14 big blinds, and it stayed that way all the way through. I think at the final table, the average stack was like 8 big blinds or something. I wasn't there, but
that's crazy.
I'd have to double check it. I think at the start of the final table, it was probably like 8. Once they consolidated down to 3 people, once they went down to 3 people, maybe it went back up to 12 or 13. But like when they started that final table, I think the average stack was like 8 big blinds. I mean, come on. And the whole thing wrapped up.
It was super shallow. Yeah.
The whole thing wrapped up at like 9 or 9:30, right? I bagged day one. I was there until 12:30. They could have afforded to find 3 more hours to put into that structure. Right? I mean, come on. I don't understand. Well, I mean, I understand, but I don't understand. Like, what is going on? Like, we don't need to have every one of those levels. There, you see?
Kevin in the chat's confirming 9 big blinds.
Started the final table. That's That's wild. The start of the final table.
Yeah.
And I want to complain about the payouts too. So the start of the final table when the money really matters, right? Because look at these payouts. They make us only 10% bag, and I have to take my day off of work, and I'm coming back for a 1.5% payout, $620. It's not even a double payout. What? And the pay jumps, $40 for what?
Yeah, and it was only 90K for first, so it was weird that they made it such a low min cash and then a low first place for 500K plus. Like I didn't understand where the money went. I guess they spread it around.
I didn't either. I want to like do the math on this. Maybe I would if I had more time, but it's that I agree with you. Like if you did a double payout in the beginning, like the World Series does, and you had pay jumps, I would understand why you didn't have an exorbitantly large first prize, right? Like if this tournament was at the Gardens, we would have expected first prize to be like 110,000, right? But it wasn't. But the Gardens also manages to do a double payout. Now they do this weird thing where there's no pay jumps. Like if this was the Garden structure, it probably would have been like 800 min cash, and then there would not have been a pay jump until you got to like 80th place. So it's interesting, but really that doesn't really affect anyone until you get down to 120. Like the first 40 people, it's better for. The next 40, it's like who cares? They really care about getting 860 instead of getting 800. But
they're also doing like that weird thing too, where they don't have big blind ante for like the first 4 or 5 levels for some reason, and all of a sudden it just jumps.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when the card rooms do stuff, it's almost like you can sort of trace a thought process, and even if you disagree, you're like, oh, okay, I guess that's why they're doing it. Like I actually don't understand why all of these things are happening. Like I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that they've ran out some of the better people that really knew how to run a tournament and run a tournament properly.
Mm-hmm.
And even one of those things that can be fixed in this whole, like you said, the average big blind is if what the LAPC used to do would be you'd bag either it would be 10 or 12%, whatever they did, but you come back, you're in the money, but then day 2 would always be 8-handed, and 8-handed just makes for more action. So the average big blind would always be up because there's people that bust faster because sometimes you're playing 7 or 6-handed, and it literally fixes the problem.
Wow. So wait, so I'm guessing this is when Savage was there? Is that
Savage, Hammer,
all
DJ,
of us?
They all
not all of DJ's tournaments were 8-handed day 2, but you're saying when you remember all of the day 2s were always 8-handed. That's amazing. Just that adjustment would help so much. That would be so nice.
It would. I mean, maybe not double the
average,
the big blind average, but it would 1.5 to 1.8 it. Like you would never see a 9 big blind average. I mean, things can happen.
Yeah.
That might happen, but like 8-handed, it almost never happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it just fixes that problem immediately. Which, it's like even talking to Gavin sometimes. He's like, we have staffing issues. I'm like, yeah, but people will come if they're going to make their money. And obviously they're doing a great job regardless.
Yeah.
I really do. But it's little things like that where you can fix the problem immediately. But that 250, I don't know how many entries they had total. I know you just put it up. I just missed it. But them to end at 9:30 on day 2.
Oh, the entries, we had 16. We had like 16. Somewhere between 1,600 and 1,700 entries. So like 1,660 entries or something. Almost 1,700 entries because there were some double bags.
That's bonkers that tournament ended at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
Yep. It ended. They played it because they played for the trophy. So they were done before 9:30. They were done. Not like they'd not chop and walk away at 6 people. Like they chopped some money and played and literally did play. So absolutely wild for it to end that fast. Yeah. And the thing is, it's like you need 2 dealers to let it go on for another 2-3 hours. Just 2 more dealers, and you already had our event, which you were hoping would have been bigger. And it's like, oh my goodness. And these are things we complained about in other years. Now, at least it was nice to hear that they did allow them to play it out there for the trophy, because we've heard multiple times, even with Hastings, the floor wouldn't let them play it out for the trophy. They wouldn't let them make a deal where they left some behind and played it out. They're just like, nope, if you're chopping, that's it. It's over. So at least they did allow them to do that. Get themselves a real champion, so to speak. So that's one good thing. And then the staffing thing you're talking about, to acknowledge that is a real problem in LA. All the casinos, I've heard every single tournament director, every single casino person mention that staffing is a huge problem in LA, which is unfortunate because, if you're looking for a job and you're, if you could be a bartender, you can be a poker dealer probably, right? And it's like it pays decent, and it's whatever. But that has been like the one ding against the Gardens. We love the Gardens. We love everything about it, except for it's farther away from me. Don't like that it's further away from me. And they have to use some substandard tournament dealers because of, they have to use certain cash dealers, new players. So 20% of the dealers are just really poor at the Gardens.
I'm also going to note right now that, before Commerce and Bike were just filled wall to wall, every single table with high quality dealers. The amount of dealers that don't know what they're doing right now at the Commerce is a little bit
So
scary,
that's what I was going to say is that problem has now crept its way into Commerce.
Right.
And here's the thing too. I heard from some of the dealers, I don't know who, someone was telling me, but they were puzzled by it too, because I would joke when one of the dealers I recognize would come in after a bad day, like, "Oh, we're so happy to see you," and then somebody told me that they were puzzled because they said Commerce didn't call back all of the experienced dealers that they had. There were some dealers that had dealt there before and know what they were doing that didn't get the call to come and work. And I didn't get it. I didn't.
So there's like 3 or 4 dealers that literally cannot count chips.
Absolutely.
As soon as they come down a stack, you can see them panicking, and you just have to kind of jump in and do it for them.
Someone said one of their dealers was like a blackjack dealer and didn't know poker or something. It was crazy. And I asked them, like, "Oh, well, do you experienced dealers? Do you get paid more? Is that the problem?" And she's like, "No, everyone gets the same." So I'm like, I don't know what to make of that. None of that makes any sense. So yeah, this problem has been creeping its way, and which stinks because that was one of Commerce's big strengths, right? Was that ballroom is amazing. The dealers were always top notch for LA, and the floors were always well and experienced, if a little inflexible. So it stinks for them to lose some of that because it is frustrating, So
it's I know you haven't been playing at all at the Commerce yet, but what are your kind of thoughts on the Commerce over the last few series that you played?
It's people still show up. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I haven't had a dealer that bad there yet, so I can't speak to that. But it's even with the LAPC, like kind of what you're going over. I'll look at the whole schedule and be like, what's going on? Just to go back to even what the main event was. If they threw a 1 million guarantee, that's fine. But I think someone told me Faraz Jaka was talking about how there's no real tournaments around the event.
There's nothing to support it. Yep.
Yeah.
There's no 2K around it, no 3K around it, no nothing.
Yeah, even if you could pull up the 2020 LAPC was obviously one of the last series before COVID. What they would do is the week leading up, they would tier it. They'd have the 1200 going into that weekend, and after the weekend, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they would all be awesome tournaments. It would be a 1K, the next day would be a 2K, the next day would be a 5K. And it wasn't a big guarantee on it. They maybe guaranteed 50 players, but they'd get 100 or more. The 1K got 300. People are still hanging in town after an 1100 1 mil. And, back then it was 250, 280 up top. It was incredible. And then people would go, well, I'm going to hang for the main because there's a 1K, a 2K, a 5K. And then they'd have satellites those days too. So leading up to it, it used to be sexy to stay. You'd be like, this is great. And even, I haven't looked at the schedule, but how they did it in the past too would be a genius way of doing it. Would be when Hammer set up the schedule, they would tier it. So the first weekend of the LAPC would be like a 120, maybe 150 buy-in.
Yep.
And then the next big no limit hold'em would be a 300.
Yep.
And the next one would be the 600, 40. And then they would maybe do a fun one like a mystery bounty.
No, that's the way DJ. Yeah, that's the way DJ set it up in the past as well. This year, I was shocked. Yeah,
the formula's there, and it's even if you could talk to someone at Commerce and say, hey, could we, if you give us the opportunity, can we set our own schedule? I could do it. It would take me a day, and then I could even talk to a couple of mixed game players, and be like, hey, what do you guys want? And then I could just look to the past too, because I would say 2020, 2019, and 2018 were incredible schedules for the LAPC.
Yeah.
But you want you got to get the people that want to come in for the mixed games, put some no limit around it. They'll play no limit. They all know how to play no limit. They have to. So there's a formula there. I don't know why they deviated from it in the last couple of years. Even, I haven't showed up for a Tuesday or a Wednesday flight for one of these tournaments at Commerce where I hate to say I don't know who's setting up these schedules, but no one's going to show up for a Tuesday and a Wednesday
Yeah.
flight.
Yep.
They get 30 people.
Yep.
It's just not going to happen.
So here's but a big part of the problem is you don't know who does it because nobody officially is doing it right now. They have no tournament director, and they haven't since last LAPC when DJ quit. Right now, I don't know if it's a mishmash of people or if it's someone who's got a different job title doing it, but somebody, there's no dedicated tournament director. And all they need to do without a tournament director is call you, right? Is call us, or call,
or just follow what WSOP just left for you. Just literally copy that, or just go back a couple of years and then just copy the schedules and the structures from there, right? I don't understand.
And then you're starting in a better place. Yep.
Yeah, even if I don't know anyone up top to like talk to there, but even if next year we could be like, hey, can you give us an opportunity? We'll set a schedule. And you guys can set the guarantees.
Yeah,
you can do whatever you want.
Now we won't do it for free, but we will comment on their schedule if they want to send it to us early, and and also,
if we could even nip that in the bud. Say, hey, before you put out that schedule, look at my schedule and look at the numbers in the past that this kind of schedule has brought in. I could almost guarantee you it would crush. It's.
I think, we have some contacts, right, with some of the commerce executives. Like if, we want to, as a community, put together a Google Sheet or something and put together a mock LAPC schedule or maybe a schedule for one of their next series, let's do it and just email it to them and be like, hey, we want you to take a look at it. We'll review it with you. We'll tell you why these things are done a certain way. And if you want to copy it, fine. You want to go a different way, okay. But just know, like, this represents the community, right? This represents what poker players want.
Yep.
Yeah.
But now...
It would be that tough.
But now to your earlier point, though, one of the issues is... to your point, people still come, right? People still arrive. We saw this Monday, day 2. Everyone I talked to, all of the people with jobs like me and Derek were complaining about it, but they were there. I was gonna boycott this first tournament, except the opening flight had huge numbers. So if this thing had just if this was the 250 guarantee and it just stayed there, I would have been like, I'm skipping. But the opening flight looked like it was gonna double, and it did. So people still show up. So they're kind of like this in LAPC in particular, because some of their other series, the other series, the smaller series do kind of not flounder, but they're much smaller, right? But the LAPC, people show up, they come, they know it's the beginning of the year, it's the right, everyone, it has that momentum behind it. So they can kind of do whatever they want, and people are showing up, unfortunately, which means they're not going to learn until people are suddenly sick of it. And once they lose that momentum, and now the LAPC has turned into it's not very good. Now it's not going to matter if you make it better, because those people who have now changed their mind to think it's not very good, they couldn't have put into words what is the problem, what's wrong with this thing, because they don't really know, but they will feel it eventually. And then if you change it back, they won't be able to recognize that it's been changed back. So now it's just bad, right? So that's kind of the fear for me, is that they're just gonna, skin that sheep enough years in a row and make it crappy, and people just be like, I'm not gonna bother, So we'll see. I hope it's not the case, because that the very first event, the last 3 years in a row, I think DJ's always made it a 250. Like you said, it was the smallest event, and then it would grow. This year, I looked at it, I expected it to be a 250. I'm like, a 250K guarantee? It must be a 250. No, it was a 400. And the next one's also a 400, It's like, what? Okay, 400. That usually you start lower, whatever. So, nope. We do have some names. We can give you a name. We can give you a phone number if you're serious. Maybe they'll listen to you, because you're not out here, criticizing things all the time. So happy to pass that along, man. So
Kevin in the chat too can also, we got people.
Yeah, Kevin.
People.
Kevin talks to everybody as well. He does their website, and Kevin and Kyra are doing a good job doing coverage on the commerce blog. So good job, you guys out there. That's another thing they're starting to get right.
Yeah, no doubt. That would be cool. I'll talk to Kevin next time on the commerce, which I'm sure is going to be sooner than later. I'm going up to Thunder Valley for.
The circuit.
I got friends up there in the series. Yeah, they got a cool schedule. I don't know why their January schedule is the best. There's a 3K right before the main, and the main's a 1700, and then they got an 1100 after it. And the casino's awesome. The rooms are awesome. The spa.
I gotta go up there. Jeez, Your friend have an extra comp room?
I did a little gamble last time I was there, so I got my own comp room.
Nice. Oh, okay. So you're saying your friend has a spare bed. All right, let me. All right.
It's my room. You can. We'll get a rollaway for you if you want to come up.
Oh, okay. All right. You said it. You heard it here. I'm gonna hold him to that. All right.
Yeah, no. The one thing, I mean, Justin Hammer works up there now too.
Yep.
But Ben Irwin, awesome tournament director, extremely player friendly tournament director.
Yep.
If you go up there and you book 5 nights, he'll book the Saturday for free for you. He just gives you a free night.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, and he gives you, obviously Saturday is the most expensive one, but he comps it. So it's
Nice.
if I know there's some LA players that go up there, but the cash is good. The tournaments are ran great,
Yep.
and the venue is incredible. So, beside that, I don't really have any plans. So I'll be in LA a lot. You guys will see me plenty. So, if you want to have a drink or you guys want to talk about this stuff too,
Absolutely.
I'm pretty easygoing about it. I don't need to shit talk everyone and that does everything in commerce, because it is what it is, right? I would change 10,000 things with the bike too. But,
Oh yeah.
Moses
everywhere.
Collect his money. You guys came into a whole new quantum era where everything's a quantum. It did not used to be like that.
About a quarter of our episodes are about quantums. Yep. Yep.
And you know what? Don't ever buy in day 2, because you do it once, you'll never play a day 1 again.
Right.
That's great. All right, man. Well, Scott, it's been super fun having you on. We're gonna have to have you on again, I think, just to talk about stuff. So next time you put in some decent volume at one of the series around town, no matter what your results, you have to come on and just talk about the experience in the series with us. Talk about help us get a little more weight to our criticism, so they don't just think we're whining.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm good with people. I can talk to anyone. You guys saw that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone loved me, and then I can give them my.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why you would make such a great spokesman, man. So get. Yeah, right. Get that face on these billboards.
I gotta hire someone I have no idea how to even break into any kind of. He's someone that's in marketing and be like, oh, market this guy.
Exactly. Those are the best people
you guys,
to put
you
in
guys
there.
Know that. Reap all the benefits if I've got them.
Let's go. Oh, I mean, that's not the reason why I'm trying to get you out of LA at all. All right, man. So we appreciate it. Thank you very much. We are going to
thank you for coming
run
on.
through.
And congrats again.
Yeah, congratulations. We're just going to run through our winners for the week and talk about what's coming up this weekend. So we're going to let you go. And good luck. Good luck in Thunder Valley. Good luck in Vegas with your paperwork there, and then we will see you at the LAPC.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me on, guys. And what you guys are doing is great for LA. I really appreciate it. So I'll see you guys soon.
Appreciate it. What you're doing is great for LA.
All right. So there, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, man. What a cool dude.
Yeah.
Can't wait to run into him and hope he's not at my table.
Yeah, he's a tough player for sure.
All right. So let's jump into some of the results. We got some results to cover from the last few weeks. We'll try and jump through these. So we have the wrap up, the ending of the Gardens Winter Series. So over there at the Gardens, Winter Series number 19 was on Wednesday. That had 176 entries and was won by Nelson Bardales Fuentes, who went over 5K. So congratulations to Nelson. Number 2, Bo Moneymaker. Nice name. Wonder if there's any relation. 3, Sang Park. 4, Dong Nguyen, then Nestor Rodriguez, Allison Haim, Nabil Chaudhry, and Marvin Luca in 8th, and 9th was Scott Mickles. So congratulations to everyone who final tabled that event. Then we had the event number 20. That was the another No Limit Hold'em. It ended in a 9-way chop. The winner was Brian Twitty. Congratulations, Brian. Second place, Erdine Badoktok. Sorry about the name. I probably messed that up. 3rd, Scott Peterson. 4th, Ruben Meza. 5th, Chung Pan. 6th, George Wu. 7, Peter Dang. 8th, Drew Galloway. And 9th, Marissa Dayleg. So congratulations to everyone who chopped that event up. Next event we had was the last mixed game event of the series, Pot Limit Omaha. So that was won by Joey DeLuca. Congratulations. It looks like there was no chop, so he won over $7,000. Second place was Aram Mitarian. 3rd, Alan Lee. 4th, Ahmad Shiraz. And 5th, Scotter Clark. So congratulations to all of those mixed game players. Last couple events on the schedule. The big 50K finale, the event that started earlier in the day was won in a 3-way chop, with Michael Kobzeff winning over 13,000 in that one-day event. So congratulations, Michael. Also, let's see. Oh, yeah, final table was stacked for this guy. Second place in the chop was Antonio Vialas. Third place was James Lee. Fourth place was Michael Lee. Wonder if there's any relation. Probably not. Fifth place, Rudy Cervantes, Old Commerce Poker Pro, Rudy Cervantes. Sixth place, Raymond Tado. Seventh place, Dong Win. I believe I just read his name a second ago. Eighth place, Blaster Rob Gill. Ninth place, Kevin Gallinger. I feel like I read his name recently too. So a lot of repeat success at the end of the series here for these guys. So congratulations to everyone at that final table. And then the very, very last event of the Gardens Winter Series was the Nightly Turbo Monster Stack, and it ended in a 9-way chop. So probably was just kind of late. But the winner was Andrew Litwin, who apparently everyone thought had a passing resemblance to Jeremy Renner. He was the chip leader. He took home over $4,000 in the chop, so that's pretty good for a 9-way chop, man. Andrew Litwin. Second place, Gustavo Flores. Third place, Richard Aluzzi. Fourth place, Paul Lim. Fifth place, Shahin Mataroyan. Sixth place, Manuel Vargas. Seventh place, Shailesh Patel. Eighth place, Jesse Delgado.
Jesse.
Way to go, Jesse. Get a final table in there. Ninth place, Christopher Correa. So way to go, everyone who chopped that up. All right. So then let's move on over to the LAPC. The first event we have results from is the big $250K guarantee, which turned into a $560K tournament, I believe. We have some photos from the first few days. Mr. Fausto, who, spoiler alert, we're going to see his picture in just a moment again, from day 1A. Myself, this picture's from day 1B, but I did not bag that day. We got Derek over here. This picture's from 1D. I don't think you bagged in 1D, but, it's just a running gag here. And Peter, he had a nice run there. Jeremy Mintz, congratulations, Jeremy, by the way, for having a piece of the Circa Survivor, one of the Circa Survivor winning teams. Way to go. But we did all manage to make it through. The entire LA Poker Roundup crew managed to make the money and get into day 2 after some number of bullets that will remain secret. And in fact, yours truly got there. Oh, that's not the right one. Sorry. Oh, I didn't take the picture. Yours truly got there as the chip leader. Oh, here we go. So I actually bagged the chip lead in the morning flight of the Sunday flight. Managed to bag exactly 1.2 million. Was ahead of Humberto Jimenez by 5K, exactly one chip. There were a lot of, this was huge. There were 165 players that came into day 2, which is, as we were saying, it's kind of ridiculous that this thing managed to wrap up as quickly as it did. So came in as the chip lead, did not really get anything going. Funny thing was, Derek and I actually, and I guess I don't have the photo up, Derek and I actually got seated at exactly the same table. So if you'll notice here, 33-2 is where I started the day, and we had, oh, he didn't have all the pages, sorry. And Derek was seated at 33-1. I don't know what's going on here. I mean,
that's crazy. Every single tournament.
Every single tournament, we find ourselves at the same freaking table. And not only that, but on this day, we sat together. If you count every time that one of us left the table and returned to the table, I think we sat together like 5 times.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, the second tournament only had 4 or 5 tables going, but it's insane.
It's really nuts.
It's insane. And I think I watched you bust out with 7s 2 or 3 times. It's just not a good day for 7s with you.
It was not. Absolutely not. No, actually, it was 7s too. Like, I can't beat 7s, and I also can't win with 7s.
Wow. So 7s literally busted you out of the tournament in one way or another at least 3 times.
Yeah.
But congratulations to a familiar face, our very first guest, to Mr. Fausto Valdez, kicking off the year with the trophy for the opening event. Now, the 3 chip leaders, the last 3 remaining, did chop up the money before playing it out for a little extra and the trophy. So Yoon Choi, who I believe I have pictures here. Yep. So Yoon Choi here, who actually knocked me out of the tournament. We had the exact same chip stack down to the last penny when my 10s ran face first into his aces, and I got knocked out in 48th. So Yoon Choi came into the final table as the chip leader, and he made it and he kept the chip lead until the last 3, and they chopped it up. So the other player in the final 3 was Mr. Viken Tojian. I believe this is his largest score by quite a bit. In fact, I think this triples his Hendon total. So way to go, Viken. Big run. He started the table with us, actually, before we broke. Or I guess before you busted, sorry. But but he was at the final table. He was at our starting table, as well as Rachel Gardner also started that table with us. And Kyung-Min Lee also started that table with us. So dang it, man. If only I had won that, somehow sucked out on Mr. Yoon Choi, maybe I would be, I'm assuming he's Korean from his name, maybe I would be the Korean at the final table, and then we would have had this wild situation where four people, I mean, it's already crazy that 3 people out of our starting table made the final table, right? But imagine if somehow I had taken that run instead. 4 people from the same starting table when there were 167 tables. What is that? That's like 30 tables or something, 25 tables. Like, that's wild. That'd just be crazy. Either way, though, congratulations. Here is all of the final tables. If you remember, I just said Humberto Jimenez started the day as second in chips, so he was able to navigate his stack a little better than I was that day. So he was coming into the final table, as well as Yoon Choi, Lirio Fontamias, Norer Sherbejian, Alan Pak, Viken Tojian, Rachel Gardner, Kyung-Min Lee. Oh, I guess there were 2 Koreans at the final table. And then Fausto. Yeah. Fausto came in as a middle stack, so way to go.
Yeah. Kyung-Min was one who busted me with the 7s at our table.
That's right. And I got somebody else when I got my aces. That was unfortunate for them. That was one of the 3 hands I won that day. So yeah, way to go. Good way to kick it off. And look at this. He's sporting the LA Poker Roundup lucky hoodie. Of course he is. This was the problem. I was wearing the wrong LA Poker Roundup hoodie, clearly. You were wearing this hoodie, so I don't know what your problem was, other than 7s were bad luck for you that day. But yeah. So way to go. Congratulations. Couldn't happen to a nice guy. And as he is always posting on his Instagram, Fausto is a coach. Feel free, hit him up. I can tell you how to get day 1 chip leads, but Fausto will show you how to close at the Commerce, man. Just want another picture from day 1 F. Sold a couple more lucky hoodies. Shout out Sarah Smart here. This is the flight where Rachel and you and I believe Min all bagged up, right, in F. And then also shout out to Alan Meyerson here on the right, one of the gentlemen in the Puma sweater. He is being recognized lately on poker Twitter as being in the top 20, I believe, for all-time Hendon cashes. I think he's like number 13 right now. And
crazy.
Not only that, but for some reason, Norman Chad just shouted him out in a post describing him. Apparently, Alan got his first Hendon cash at the age of 51, and he is in the top 50 for total cashes on Hendon. So that's pretty cool.
Crazy.
Way to go, Alan. Yeah. It's really cool. So that is how that event turned out. As I kind of brought up here, this is the first day of the bounty event. We had I think we had like 88 or 87 players or something. So 9 people bagged up, and I managed to grab myself a bag early. So at least I won't have to go back for a while. I can rest up before Sunday. The downside is this is an XL bounty, so having chips is kind of the important thing. Super fun. I was playing, like I said, I was playing through I drank my way through happy hour. Gary got me a drink. We were having fun. I had the whole table thinking I was an absolute maniac. They thought I was wild. I had all the folks. The guy next to me swore he had me figured out right before he misread the board and busted. Poor guy. It wasn't to me. I had a real good chance at the end. I was really doing well, abusing the bubble, but unfortunately, with a flight so small, we're down to just 2 tables. It's just hard for there to be a lot of table chips at any table. So I was in a great spot, actually, and it was kind of heartbreaking. This one girl who cashed the other events, I believe Frank has a picture of her because I can't quite remember her name right now. This lady right here on the right, XKAHJ on Instagram, don't know her name. She was the bubble. She unfortunately bubbled this thing, and she took some rough beats. I hit a set of 6s against her jacks, and we ended up getting it in. My reputation preceded me, and I got called off a little light there. And then she took a really bad beat right on the bubble hand to, let me pull the names up here, Mr. Azabadi, or Arash Azabadi. So Arash had just won a big flip against me. I could have popped the bubble the hand before this. So the hand before this, I had about 480K, say 500K. And Arash and I got all in for his 2 whatever with his jacks versus my ace king. He won that flip, went up to about 450. And then the very next hand, she opened up kings. He jammed an ace on her because now he had chips, and he managed to spike the ace and knock her out. So he bagged up the big stack for the day, 740. I am just shy of average, which is not great in an XL bounty, but I'm not so far off of average that I will not be able to get bounties. So I don't think I'm planning to play again. The one nice thing about these kind of bigger bounty events for the operators is this is a natural incentive to make people want to play again, as opposed to doing ridiculous bagging bonuses or other silly things. We didn't mention this before, but one of the suggestions that really they should copy from the World Series, if they're going to keep doing Monday day 2s, or if they're going to keep doing these small event ones, and make a way to make day 2 not play late into the day, is speed things up just a tiny bit and make the bagging a little harder and the cashing be on day 1, right? So like the opening event for the World Series, that I forget what they call them, the homecoming, the opener, whatever. You cash at 15%, but then you play down to 5%. And a lot of people, that 10% of people there that don't bag, they have money to play the next day. You try again. Yeah. And then when you come back for day 2, you're in the 5% of the field. And that 5% of the field, you can give them more time to play out a better tournament, and you probably got more entries because all those people, those 10%ers, they get the money just the way the bike's discovered. If you pay them out on day 1, they'll come back for day 2 if they didn't make it, So without doing artificial stuff like that, these bigger bounty tournaments for day 2 big bounties and mystery bounties do incentivize people who bag small to want to come and try again, because all the money's in these bounties. Having that big stack for day 2 is so much more valuable than it is in a regular tournament. So,
Right.
So that is something to keep in mind, especially later when they do their XXL bounty. That's one where it may be worth it just to keep firing. If you bag early, just fire again anyways. If you bag early, just fire again, because you're going to get that XXL bounty when you bag again, so you can get a decent chunk of money. And just getting all those chips is just so valuable in these things.
Right.
All right. Let me, so why don't, so I kind of covered my day. So my day was, I already was vented about it. My stack, I went card dead. My stack dwindled to the blinds, and I lost that flip. How did your day go, Derek? I'm going to kind of look up and see if I can find if Jeff or anybody posted any other results before we wrap up. But how did your weekend go?
Like the day 1s were extremely painful. It just really did feel like constantly getting outboarded, like either flop, turn, or river on like every single hand I played. So it was like that kind of a week. Fired out like 8 bullets, I think, at this stupid event. I was able to get, through the final flight, which was pretty fortunate. But then, like we talked about, just lost a flip like super early and then the busting.
Yep.
Then I think that the bad run just kind of continued through the 2 events that I played there. It was like that $400 one day. And then I fired 2 bullets at the XL bounty, and then you were at the table when I lost the blind versus blind hand. Where even looking back at the jam when he had basically turned his gutter, I probably would call again. I mean, it's just so hard for people to find bluffs there, but it was really only losing to 1 combo. The way the hand played out, I almost just feel like he checks back a bunch of 8s there, and the 10 shouldn't help him. Yeah. So it's just a really weird hand where it was only 1 hand that I lose to. Yeah. But maybe, maybe we make really exploitative folds in live tournaments. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Now I can tell you this. I played with him for the next 4 hours until we bagged.
Yeah.
I would have told you absolutely light your hand on fire, fold the set, fold top set there after having played with him for the next 4.5, 5 hours. I would have said.
I played with that guy a bunch of times before. He was also that one where I made that final table at the Commerce. I forgot where. Or no, was it the bike? One of those ones. He was the one that actually busted me when I had a flop top with ace queen, and he had a flush draw, king eye flush draw out of the blinds. He was the chip leader. Busted me out of the tournament when I was 3rd in chips or something. And I played with him a little bit before he does play in a tighter side, but not that tight.
Well, maybe it was because of ICM, because I had a big stack at the table and had that image and was playing, every hand. Yeah. Maybe I had him handcuffed, but based on the hours I was playing, he just never played ever because, maybe he was handcuffed because of me and he didn't think his stack was high enough to fight it because he thought I was just going to be wild and go all in every hand, which, maybe that's true. But based the way it felt like, I would have been like,
I've never observed him make like a huge bluff or anything like that, but it's possible that he's actually very possible that he's capable of doing it. It just I just really hate folding to like the one single combo that beats me type of thing, right? When I look across.
And what's even sicker about him having that hand? I had the exact same hand under the gun. I folded ace 3 offsuit under the gun, and he had that exact same hand in the big blind that beat you. So like I'm watching the hand, I'm like, shit, I wish I was in his hand. I hit that, and then he has the exact I had two.
And it's funny because the radar went off on the turn where I ended up like check call, like the next few streets after firing that. Because it was still a really safe board for sevens, and I turned like a straight draw. So, anyways, it was pretty nutty.
Yeah, and Yep, and Frank says so her name was Ziyun. Yep, so she was taking pretty hard. New tournament players, that's when you start to try and learn try and take those beats. Yeah. Actually, I was gonna say one of the hand that I played against her might be interesting for to run by you. I think it is an interesting hand, especially playing against me. So we were on the bubble, stone bubble of this day 1A. You're playing with me. I've been drinking. I'm talking about how there's like 7 more flights. I don't care. Blah blah. She comes over the table, but she also knows I bagged the chip lead for the other event. And she knows that I'm do the show, and she knows Frank and everyone, right? So she comes over. She's at the table. She has a good stack. She has me covered. She has 450K ish about, and I start the hand with about 220. She may have actually had more than that. She may have had 550. So I'm under the gun. I open. She is in the small blind. Folds to her. So I open the blinds. I open to 25K, I think, because I think the blinds are 12K. So she bumps it up to. Well, first off, she has pocket jacks in the small blind. The big blind has about 130K. All right. So what do you do?
In ICM, I'm pretty sure that jacks is not a 100% 3-bet, but it's probably mostly a 3-bet.
She has me covered by double too. Remember, she has 500 and whatever.
It's probably something like 60, 70% 3-bet. I'll have to go look it up afterwards.
Okay. Well, what would you 3-bet to?
4x.
Okay. So she clicked me. She made it 50. Like 55K, 56K.
Never do that. Out of the blinds from.
So she
actually don't even do that. Don't even do that in position.
Yeah. So she did that. So big blind gets out of the way. I call. Flop is ace 10 6, ace 10 of diamonds. She checks. I bet 40K. What do you do?
Call.
Okay.
Just call.
Yep. So she calls. Turn is a 7, offsuit 7. So it's ace 10 6 7 2 diamonds. She checks. I jam 152K.
It's fold.
Yeah.
It's almost a snap. Even against you, it's like a snap.
Yeah. So she tanked for a really long time, and she did make the call with Jack, and she was kicking herself for that for a while. So, so that's a little having table image or whatnot. But yep. So I got lucky. I hit the 6s against the jacks. But and actually, you kind of had the same spot earlier, just for smaller chips. You did fold. What did you have that hand when I showed you the 5? We were in the blinds.
Ace king.
You had ace king.
Ace high.
Just ace high. Okay, so I couldn't have gotten any more money out of you. I mean, unlikely. I had to do something really tricky to get more money out of you.
I was actually super close to
call
calling you. Yeah, I was actually going to call you with ace high. And I just decided against it.
I had a full house.
It's. Yeah. So in the moment, did you raise me with 2 pair?
I did. I raised you on. Yeah, I did. I was gonna call, but I'm like, you know what? This is too small. I want to bloat this thing, and the board's weird, so I'm just gonna raise now. And then and you came along.
Especially in a blind versus blind, I'm not folding.
Yeah.
So you should bloat it against me.
So I raised it, and then I milked you on the turn. Yeah.
Yeah. So like in those situations though, like I'm just telling you the theoretical play. Like obviously, I'm not there. She has very specific reads, specific reasonings for why she's doing certain things. So it's very possible that, in her head, she had like formed some combos, enough like bluff combos is what you had, especially with like flush draws. Also, she probably thinks that her line makes it look like her hand is face up and you're just sort of taking advantage of that and you're capable. So there's all those things that kind of come into play, which would make somebody kind of call it off.
For sure.
Like on the stone bubble, that's where things are a little different.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think those are definitely some thoughts that were going through her head. And if I had covered her, I think some of those would make more sense. But yeah, I
Right.
think it's the weighted less given that she covers me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But poker. That's poker. All right.
That is poker.
So yeah, let's see. I do have one more result here I was able to find. So Kevin did run another one of the dailies are back on at the Gardens. So they had their Saturday event. So congratulations to Milad Dimitri. He got the final 5-way chop there. And then Jeff does not seem to have. Here we go. So wait, not that one. Yeah, he didn't really post any new results, but we reposted this on Instagram. Big news. They have new tournament trips at the bike, and they are using them in the dailies from what I can tell. So I might have to go down there in one of these days where I don't have to play the bounty just to check them out, be one of the first people to touch these things. So these are the new chips, new tournament chips. Very exciting. Tournament chips at the bike. We've been dying for them. Can't wait to see how they are.
I hope they sunset, I don't know, like one of those ancient.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they'll probably just sunset one of the ones they used in like when they run like the 5th satellite for the day, those neon ones or something, and we'll still be stuck with the faded ones.
Those actually look cool. I mean, like when you play them, they're terrible, but like they look cool from far away. Yeah. And obviously like way better than those super like old ones.
Yeah. All right, man, this one's been going over. Let's quick hit it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go for the roundup. So this week, we already talked about commerce. We have flights for the XL Bounty all week. They're in the afternoon. They're at 4 p.m. for a while, and there's 2 flights a day later on in the week. There are mixed games events starting for most of the week, starting at 11, and then there's a noon Hold'em event most of these days. Let me scroll on up so you can read it if you are watching along. So there's the XL Bounties are starting at 4 p.m. until Friday, when there will be 2 flights a day, 11 and 4 Friday and Saturday, day 2 on Sunday. The mixed games, there's mixed games starting at 11 a.m. every day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 11 a.m. That is Stud 8, and then Omaha 8 Stud 8, and then Horse. On all of those days as well, there's a variety of different Hold'em events happening at noon. So tomorrow there's an 8 max. Thursday there's a seniors, and then Friday, like I said, instead there'll be double flight, day 1 flights for the bounty event. There are satellites happening at night as normal, and then on Sunday, alongside the day 2, there is the trophy event at noon, the $400 no limit Hold'em that we once again are puzzled why there's no guarantee on it. Next week starts the 300K guarantee 40-40. That will be a good one. I'm excited about that one, much more so than some of these bounties. All right, heading over to Let's Start at the Bike. They have made a change. Their weekend tournaments, the Sunday tournament, is now a 20K guarantee as well. So exciting. It used to be a 10K. Now they've raised it to 20K. So it's the same as the Saturday one. So they both start at 1 p.m. I might go check one of those out and check out those new chips. So check it out. Yeah. They do have that free roll that will happen in March. If you do enough buy-ins, you will gain entry. Okay. Yeah. At the Gardens, they have adjusted their daily tournament schedule. So they have now on Fridays an 11 a.m. again. So 11 a.m., $130 buy-in bounty event. It's very much like the one on Wednesday and the one on Sunday. And then they still have their 5 p.m., $250 buy-in, 20K guarantee on Friday night. So exciting times. If you're a daily player and if there's no series going on, you will have 20K guarantees going on Friday night at the Gardens, on Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon at the bike. So you always have these. Other events going on around town are the, I gotta bring it up unfortunately, but the Lucky Lady will be having its regular set of events. And I believe there is a nice event on Monday happening at Hollywood Park because what I had heard is they actually made the same mistake that we're assuming that the Commerce did in thinking that Martin Luther King Day was going to be celebrated last week, when actually it's celebrated on. Wow, did they not put the date on their flyer? Am I missing it? Okay, well, assume Martin Luther King Day. It's on this one, but they changed it. They actually fixed it. So 1/20 is the day you celebrate Martin Luther King Day, and that is a 57K guarantee 1-day event for looks like 390, or is that an add-on? Looks like an add-on. So 290 plus 100. So $390 tournament, 57,000 guarantee, starts at 11 a.m. on Monday. The rest of their weekend seems fairly standard. They have a 8K bounty on Friday, 10K on Saturday, and a 5K on Sunday. So that is happening at Hollywood Park this weekend. So if you have Monday off and you won't be playing somewhere else, I don't think there's no random day twos happening or anything. So it might be a good event to go and check out.
Yep.
Whew. All right. Well, it looks like I'm exhausted and your cat could use some attention. So
Yep.
look at that. We have a mascot now. Haven't had a animal on the show since the first episode when my dog was here.
Oh, yeah. So since her tree is right here, yeah, I guess she's going to be a frequent visitor.
I think that's going to up our views big time. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking it out. Everyone who stuck it out this whole time, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Big shout out, props to Scott for coming on. Loved chatting with him, and good luck to everybody out there grinding, man. Please go, now that I'm in, go play a ton, play all the flights, get the prize pool huge, and bag as few chips as possible because I've only got 250. So if you could just bag less than that, I would appreciate it. So at your flight, I'd like just one person bag all the chips and everyone else just bag less than 250, and that would be amazing. So I know you can do it, guys. Get to it. All right.